Hello everybody and welcome to another MasterShar's video for Fire Emblem Heroes. Today I'd like to go through all of my favorite 2020 heroes. Yeah, I'm a little behind compared to some of the other Faytubers. This is kind of similar to Sacred Spear's video about his favorite 2020 units. Um, they could be those who have gotten their refines, have gotten their resplendence in some cases, or units that were just released this year. But here, I thought about very hard about who are my top 20 favorite units and units that I love using the most and go back to over and over again in all the different game modes over the over this year. And yeah, it was really hard coming with the top 20 because I love all of my characters and I built most of my characters to quite an extent. And it doesn't do them justice to only pick 20 of them to get featured here. But yeah, I think some wouldn't be surprising for those who know me, and some are kind of interesting and unique picks for those who um, who don't really have those units or those who may not usually see them around. Without further ado, let's start. Okay, Marth. So before then, I was kind of joking about how Marth was kind of unplayable, and also he couldn't keep up with some of the other current gen swords. But after thinking hard about what I wanted to do with the build, and also with the fact that Chris came out, funny enough, in the Arcaneum banner in July, I decided to actually go with a Spurn Life and Death Ether build, funny enough. And this build is pretty gimmicky, sure, because it kind of relies on his 47 speed. But funny enough, it's pretty good enemy phase build. And I've actually run this build in Tempest Trial a couple of times, and he became a really fun unit again after his stats and also with his new art. Really like how it's being done. And yeah, it's also Marth's year as well. So I think between Young Marth, this Marth, uh, Christmas Marth, Groom Marth, this is the most iconic Marth out of all the Marths. So it was really hard between him and Young Marth, but I felt like OG Marth with the Resplendent deserved to get a chance at my top 20 list. All right, next up is Celica. So, Celica's on this list because she got her Royal Sword refined this year. In case you guys don't know, basically it removes the conditional cooldown charge +1 um, uh, condition, which allows her to basically get it while initiating combat. It also gives her stats. It also gives her like a after the battle quicken the pulse effect with +7, which is pretty nuts. So with Time's Pulse, Celica triggers Gale Force in one round of combat. Within Resistance battle, she's one of the only two units, the other being Yarne, who could actually trigger Gale Force on the map. So she's become from like middling tier among different swords. Doesn't matter if you look at the Game Press or some other tier list, but she goes from the middle to being one of the top swords overnight. Even though I'm running the distant counter build, typically I run the Deathblow Swift Sparrow 3 build with Swift Sparrow's CO, and she's just a lot of fun to use. And she could just wreak a lot of havoc against a lot of teams. And I think I might use her some more during light season again against some of the tougher teams in tier 38. But yeah, I've always loved Celica a lot. She's one of my favorite swords. And between her and her fallen self, I like this refine a little better, so this Celica gets to stay. All right. Whew. This one, Dancer Sigurd. Oh boy. Not sure if folks recall, but there was a time where Sigurd never had a single ult in the game. And it was sad because he was the leading protagonist in FE4 Genealogy of the Holy War. And I'm just so glad and so amazed to see Sigurd finally get justice done in 2020 in the Dancer banner with Deirdre as his duel. And Dancer Sigurd, oh my goodness, a Cav dancer that just like opens up the game and creates so many different possibilities. Makes pretty much the game just fun on another different level. So yeah, he comes with the Guilt Goblet, which is basically damage reduction for um, magic attacks, and I think he can still survive Guinevere. I still have to go check, but he takes out a lot of green tomes and even a lot of red tomes pretty easily with his 42 res, his attack res bond, his lull, and his joint hone all activating at the same time. He's pretty ridiculous. I mean, he hits hard, he can tank magic like it's nothing, and he makes a lot of teams just harder and harder to beat just by virtue of being on the field. He's just a game changer. I mean, Dancer Sigurd is quite the game changer, and I have a ton of fun using mine. All right. Well, even though some may accuse me of recency bias, the truth of the matter is Reagan's been one of my favorite Book 5 units, one of the few. Well, she's kind of like the only OG Book 5 unit, but man, oh man, having Canto and then also having a special that goes off with adaptive damage, and then also just an incredible base kit. It's actually Panic Smoke as well. Reagan more or less made the AR meta change overnight. She made Astra even easier than it was under Plumeria, which made it kind of easier already. And she's basically to Astra what Peony and Air was to Light, which is just a unit that enables a lot of tactics, a lot of plays, and also opens up a lot of opportunities for other team members to come into the fray and attack. She's just incredible. I mean, Reagan Reagan more or less just changed the AR meta overnight all by herself. And yeah, I've been pretty lucky to complete one of them. And I'll be using this Reagan quite a bit in a lot of my Astro season runs moving forward. I foresee myself using Reagan at least once on every team in some ways, just to get the 6 unit benefit. And even on weeks where it's either Altina, Naga, Plumeria bonus as well, I'll still run a Reagan just because Reagan opens up the field so well, and Reagan also enables a lot of stats that or strats that hard defenses usually don't take into consideration. So she helps a ton, and I've been using her against some of my friends' toughest defenses, and she's been doing really well against them, funny enough. And I have a lot of fun using her. And I think a lot of people agree that Reagan's just a hell of a fun unit to use. Okay, Dual Spring Iden. This unit is arguably one of the most ridiculous tanks in the game. The only reason why I have her for water season is because she's there to deal with a lot of dual alms that show up, who's another character on this list as well. But Dual Iden is pretty nuts in that she has armor effectiveness and she also inflicts the attack -6, as well as also ignores blocks follow-up attacks in general unless somebody's running no follow-up. She's a really good unit, and she's been one of my best Astra in some cases light season tanks, and got me to front page on quite a few occasions by herself. And yeah, I wouldn't mind putting her on AR again. I just don't know which season I want her in as of right now in preparation for tier 38. But I've had a lot of fun using her, and I use her in a lot of the competitive modes quite a lot too. She's just a lot of fun, being able to grant 12 bulk as well as also neutralizing armored and dragon effectiveness is pretty nice. She allows a lot of other units who are otherwise close to unplayable to be playable again. And she's one of the few who has a dual effect that can withstand the likes of Legendary Crom, even if it's just for a turn or two. So yeah, really fun unit, really good tank, makes Omega tanking pretty ridiculous to the extreme. And that's kind of the last of the red units. All right. Well, you didn't think you were gonna get by without me at least featuring some of my Dimitris, were you? So yes, this is Brave Dimitri, the CYL pick from my end. Um, he got finished the fastest. He was the one that I really wanted the most out of the 4 CYL units. I like all 4 of them quite a lot, even Edelgard, funny enough. But Dimitri has a special place in my heart because I can relate to him on a very personal level about kind of the stuff that he goes through, as well as also be able to empathize with his plight throughout 3 houses quite a lot. Not surprisingly, I also finished Azure Moon first among all the routes, and I just really in all of Dimitri in general. So yeah, his brave self. I went with an ether build, but you can really stick with a noontime speed res solo build. I just have speed res solo on Hector right now for Astra season. But basically, he he can tank a lot of damage. He can deal a lot of damage. He functions at his best at high merges, not like Edelgard and Lifesea who can do better at low merges. And yeah, Dimitri's a trooper. I mean, this dude single-handedly won me so many light season battles after his bonus round, destroyed so many Eliwoods, and oh my goodness, he is unbelievably one of the top Blue Lance infantries in the game currently. And he's also Dimitri. Need I say more? And to top that, here is legendary Dimitri, who actually came out 2 months after Brave Dimitri. So this Dimitri, unlike Brave Dimitri, has damage reduction based on speed instead of defense. Has his special atrocity skill, which is just pretty ridiculous in general. This guy can actually take down Brave and legendary Edelgards if given the right setups and opportunity to do so. He is just a monster. My goodness. He is a nightmare to be reckoned with in Arena. I think like in the beginning, some people were saying he's the third most impactful water legendary or something along those lines. But I think he can seriously give Crom, or some people call him Mistake, and Leaf a run for their money because this guy's unkillable, almost unkillable. And he actually, once he gets Odd Tempest and Gale Force off, you're just gone. I mean, it's just very, very hard to recover after that. He also makes a lot of those two Crom teams kind of a joke these days because he can tank both Croms back to back with enough health and take them both down on the retaliation. So yeah, I'm pretty confident my Dimitri can take down a lot of Croms and Leafs in the water season. Uh, just having Dimitri makes water season so much easier and much more fun to play in, despite it being the worst season ever. And yeah, I think I'll keep some support on him for quite a while, even though I might change his ally support from Plumeria to somebody else. But yeah, Dimitri craziness lives on in blue this year with two of the best Dimitris to have been released, and I hope Fallen Dimitri becomes a thing next year. All right, going to Sacred Stones. So Duso, funny enough, is Ephraim's teacher, and I wasn't sure when he was going to get added, but once he did get added, oh boy, this guy, he has mistake type of damage reduction, attack nullification, similar to what Crom has, legendary Crom has. And if you put this in counter and give him Rouse Defense Res 3, or give him Defense Res Solo Seal whenever that's the thing, he's gonna have like 60 defense and 50 res, so you're not gonna scratch him anytime soon. Maybe if you have a powered up Brave Micaiah or a Dominance Dual Micaiah, maybe, but this guy is like the Great Wall. So hard to take down, so annoying to fight against, and so fun to use in the player's hands. He certainly made legendary Ephraim a thing of the past, sadly, with him showing up in the game with a Physian Lance. And I'm kind of scared once he actually does get a PRF refined for his Lance, how crazy he'll be. But I'm so glad Duso's in the game, and I'm so glad they did him justice while at that much as well, giving him just all these crazy skills and whatnot. He's just incredible and fun to use in general. And next, speaking of Micaiah, next we go to Micaiah. So I actually need to give her a repositional skill. But sacrifice works because it turns it's like a harsh command heal type of effect, and her Thani Refine made her even better. So apparently she gets more stats and she can auto double up. Um, Double most foes, except those no follow up foes, and she has the reduction for magic attack as well. Um, or rather ranged attack. Don't send her to archers though. She's still gonna die to Shamir and some other crazy greens. But she can hold her own against a lot of reds and quite a few blues and tome users quite well. So yeah, I'm really glad that they did the Micaiah refined a lot of justice. They made her really good, and she's still going to be stomping cav lines obviously with this refine. And I might actually switch her over to either light or Astra season to deal with some of those cav lines with her refine, making her even better. All right. While we're on the topic of sacred stones, let's also feature Selena, the Fluorospar. Oh boy, Selena comes into the game about uh, 4 to 5 months after her summer ult, and oh my goodness, they made her OG version even better than her summer version. She has a no follow-up tome that has all of the effects of Creator's Sword of the Creator except the slaying effect. And so when you put Windsweep with her, she is basically going to double with the Windsweep being able to double consecutively without getting retaliated against physical units, which is pretty major. And yeah, I've been running this build in AR defense, and she's just been destroying units left and right. Even after getting killed, she sets up so that the rest of the team gets killed pretty easily. And yeah, she's a lot of fun to use and watch. She's also a good nuker, and I've used her in Arena and Arena Assault on several occasions to just nuke random green teams because they can't retaliate. And she just does a fantastic, fantastic job hit and running, and also just being able to attack from the back or front. I wonder if ruse skills are going to become a seal one of these days because I'll probably put like defense res ruse or attack res ruse with her somehow just so she can get the ruse effect going in addition to her rally skill. But yes, Selena's just been a joy to use, and she's one of the most fun blue mages in a long time. I really wanted to put Guinevere, funny enough, because I was really happy Ariella got into the game, and I was also happy that she was really good with the tome that's effective against all magic users. But after thinking about it, I still like Sacred Stones a little more than Binding Blade, and I also feel that Guinevere is a little too cheap. Even though I'm using her and having a lot of fun with it, I just like Selena better because I just like her tome and her base kit as well as her setup a little better in general compared to Guinevere. But yeah, those two were like the last two choices for my last blue tome, and I'm really happy I picked Selena to say the least. All right, moving down to greens. Right now, to nobody's surprise, Brave Ephraim is one of my top favorite greens for the year. His Garm Refine basically makes it so that he gets the Omni doubling effect if he has bonus, if he has a active visible buff, as well as also a type of armored march ability with him. So yeah, if you put it where he fighter, then basically with the bonus effect, he gets to do Omni Breaker type of build, similar to what Hector has been able to do for the longest time. And I run the Ether DC build, but in all honesty, you could run him with a lot of different builds, and he can do really well. I think he can tank Legendary Julia's on Earth Season okay to some extent, but yeah, I mean along with Brave Hector, whom funny enough I didn't put on this list, even though I had a lot of fun with them. I thought Ephraim would represent both him and Hector because I used them both a lot in Arena Assault last year, and they both just cleaned up the mess so well and did phenomenally well in their runs in general. So there was a lot of fun, and I intend to finish the flowers of both Ephraim and Hector because they are kind of the twin lords of the twin armors of COIL 2 that are just a brutally difficult force to deal with. All right, next up is New Year's Leaf. New Year's Leaf is has a really interesting base kit. Even though she comes with solo and lull, I gave her speed wave and also gave her heavy blade, so she can get both the damage reduction as well as get gale force off. I was using Leaf a lot in my Sophis mixed beast dragon defense earlier in the year, and she did really incredibly well. Funny thing was I was debating between Bridal Nyla, and Leaf, because both have killed a lot of blue units in arena for me. And I actually went back to Leaf because Leaf showed up earlier and I used Leaf more and also have a better appreciation of what Leaf brings to the table. Nyla's a little bit too niche because you have to use a special spiral build and you have to use Luna and some other crazy 2-3 cooldown special to make use of her, which makes her a little harder to set up. But Lee's just really fun out of the box unit, and she reaches insane speeds. Once you give her solo and other things into effect, she reaches 60 speed, and it's very hard to catch up to her in general, which makes her a ton of fun. All right, Dual Olm. To nobody's surprise, um, Dual Olm is probably my favorite green unit of the year, hands down. Among my blue and my red units, I would say red unit would be Dual Sigurd, blue unit would be Legendary Dimitri, and green unit will be Dual Alm. My goodness, Dual Alm has just been incredible this year with the dual skill, with Scepter's Love, with Lunar Flash, and also the ability to just tank blues like nothing, and also being able to just make a lot of arena and arena assault, and in some cases AR defenses and offenses go so well. It's just unbelievable, and I'm enthralled and in love with the this duel in general. It's just an amazing duel hero. I think they did an amazingly good job, and Dual Arm's just incredible in general. It's kind of sad that his dual version came out. It'll be hard for him to get another duel this upcoming year. Next up is Shamir. So Shamir's been one of my favorite church units in Three Houses, and I was wondering when she'd get into the game, but boy, once she's get into the game, holy smokes, she is good. She hits really hard. She is super solo, just like the way she is back in the game. Instead of that one ability that lets her get +4 to all stats when she kills off units, she just gets slaying effect and slaying and fire sweep effect. So she's like premium Clarice and some of the other fire sweep bow users, along with Eleonora too. And she more or less power creeps Eleonora from earlier in the year. She's just so good, and in light season, she's just ridiculous on hit and runs, and also on arena and arena assault, she's just so incredibly good in certain matchups against some of the toughest blues in the game, namely Legendary Crom and Dimitri to some extent. Shamir's just been great for me this year, and I couldn't imagine what next year will be like continuing using Shamir. Fallen Leon. Well, another Sacred Stones character, yes, and also probably the best colorless bow and staff tank in the game. Holy cow! Once Fallen Leon came to the game, I was thinking, goodness, AR and all the other bows with Razzle Dazzle healers are gonna be a joke now. And boy, was I right. Fallen Leon is just so broken and so busted that he makes all the um, other units just seem pretty lackluster by comparison. And he's basically one of my main Astra tanks these days, along with Brave Hector and Micaiah. He just puts in so much work and he does so well. And there were just literal maps and literal days where he just hard carries the day by himself. That's kind of how ridiculous he is. And yeah, he's also my last favorite green unit I like to go through. So now I'd like to move to my colorless units. So, Mia. It actually was a tough decision including either Mia or some other colorless unit, but I decided to include Mia because I was really glad she got a harmonic. She made harmonic heroes a thing, and with Mask Marth or you know who she is. She opens up a lot of different possibilities and playstyles with the snag move and also with Resonance Blades as well for both Radiant Dawn and Awakening units. She's really good at resonance battles. I mean, uh, all the weeks that Awakening and Radiant Dawn come around, I always use her to get up pretty high rankings in rounds. And she's just a lot of fun to use on defense as well because the 75% damage reduction is pretty bananas. And she can basically tank a lot of hits pretty well for being a Cav. The only problem is she doesn't have impact, and that kind of screws her over, sadly. All right, my favorite archer in the game. Uh, Other than Legendary Olm, that is. Well, took them about 3 years, but my boy Shinan is finally in the game. And oh boy, he's crazy. He's just bananas. He comes with a Deadeye, his double bolt's just incredibly nuts, times pulse and attack defense solo forward. This guy can just murder a lot of things in the game. He's so crazy and annoying that if you try to auto battle and you run into him as the last unit on some of the maps, he can basically take you out. And he's just a busted unit and a really powerful unit to deal with in general. I might give him no follow up just to make him more insane into the future, but I think this kit does him pretty good job in going through Fire Season Arena. I might put him in AR one of these days as well. Could have done that during his bonus season, but I wanted to go with some other type of defense that time. But yeah, Shinon's won a lot of rounds once he's in the game, and I'm excited to see how much I'll be using Shinon next year as well. Faye. So, Faye's kind of like the stepchild of the Valentine's banner with Dual Ong and Celica, funny enough. And her budding bow's been quite a game changer for a lot of folks who wanted to get it. Even though this has been my only Faye, I haven't pulled a budding bow for anybody else. Uh, I just think like most of the other units are better off with their base kits than using budding bow, funny enough. And I actually think that um, Faye by herself is a pretty crazy unit. I mean, she's basically Halloween Jacob 2.0 with better stats, better weapons, and also just better base kit to deal massive, massive damage. Um, and with the Deadeye build, Faye's basically going to be blowing a lot of stuff out by herself with being a low speed, which is going to be pretty fun. The only thing that's stopping her is those no follow-up users, but yeah, Faye's been a lot of fun this year, and she's also been a lot very impactful, both on defense and also on a lot of defense teams that I've faced, where she just comes in and starts hammering stuff left and right, pretty hard. I also remember that one team I ran into in arena with Spendthrift Alm, Spendthrift Norn, and Spendthrift Faye, and that just gave me a hard time to overcome, even with Fallen Leon, funny enough. But yeah, Faye is a lot of fun, and it's kind of sad to see her put on the same banner as Almond Celica, but yeah, I really like Faye a lot because of Echoes, and I hope she sees a lot more playtime next year as well. Next up, we have Claude, second to last. So Claude has an interesting kind of stat buff, slaying, and healing effect. And yeah, Claude's a lot of fun with with this setup, where he just goes in and destroys a lot of units um, using the Vantage build. I'm actually giving him Deadeye so that he can actually win some of these damage reduction matchups. But yeah, as long as he's next to two spaces with an ally, or he deals damage using a special, he pretty much heals up. And with this build, he can just go in, snipe, leave, tank a little bit, and then also heal up pretty well. Only thing that'll beat him is probably Razzle Dazzle and some other types of fire sweep effects. But in all honesty, if you give him IO's shield and this setup in general, Claude doesn't go down that easily, to say the least. So yeah, the Almiron King is pretty fun to use in general. Last but not least, the terror that everybody despises, Duel Lin. Yeah, so Dual Lin was the start of 190 VST units, and I've been a very long time Lin fan, so I was really happy that she got an alt. Um, and I was very happy that she was pretty busted as well, so I could use her a lot. And oh my goodness, during the weeks of AR and also during some of the arena assault weeks where I wanted to use her, she's just been incredible. Just slicing and dicing things left, right, and center. And the Tailwind Shuriken is just pretty bananas in general. Ugh. But yeah, with Lynn in general, don't need to be worried about hit and run because you can just gale force yourself and get out of the way. And she's just a stupidly broken unit in general. And she's a lot of fun. And she's Lynn, so can't say anything about that. But that does it, folks. Those are my top 20 units, favorite units for the year. Hope you enjoyed this review. And also leave a comment, like, and subscribe if you want to see more Fire Emblem Heroes content. And also let me know who your favorite heroes are this year. And maybe I'll do a runner-up list because I have a lot of runner-ups in mind for this year that had a lot of awesome units that come out, have resplendence or refines, and I just couldn't fit them all in. So hope you enjoyed this top 20 unit list from MasterShar, and we shall see you around soon at around the new year as well. Have a nice night and all the best.